And joining us from the battleground state of Ohio are Senator McCain's wife, Cindy, and their daughter, Meghan. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mrs. McCain, it seems as if your husband has a newfound sense of energy over the last few days. I mean, when he steps up on the stump now, he really seems to be nailing home his points. What is this energy coming from?
Well, he's always had this energy, but it's exciting now. It's, we're getting towards the end. The crowds are huge, and his message is getting out. And that's probably most important. And the people are seeing the differences. And, of course, we're seeing the differences in the crowds, too, and what they have to say to us and how they feel. It's all very exciting now.
You know, Meghan, the longer the campaign that goes on, it seems that your father gets stronger and stronger in terms of the way he looks and the way he's coming across. And I know there must be 20, 21-hour days. What's that about?
I just think his momentum always builds when he's the underdog. I think historically that's been proven to be true, and I don't think this instance is any different.
Meghan, let me ask you about this. Everybody, so many members of the mainstream media, they're going, well, the key to Barack Obama's success is going to be the young voter. You're a young voter. I know you also have a very positive and positive toward your father blog, and it gets a lot of traffic out there. What are you hearing from, the 20-somethings as they look at this election?
As you said, I run a blog, McCainblogette.com, that has been very successful, and I get amazing traffic, and a lot of it is from youth voters. And literally, I go to events every day. I go to Young Republicans events where they're packed and tons of people, especially young men and women in the military. So I just have always thought it was a stereotype. I continue to think it's a stereotype. And, I just am really looking forward to seeing how my generation comes out and voting in this election.
Mrs. McCain, let me talk to you about one of your favorite topics, the mainstream media. Because a couple of weeks ago, the New York Times did a hit job on you. And now, just this morning, when I'm coming into work, I'm listening to mainstream media radio. And I hear them describing what happened yesterday on the stump, where your husband looks for Joe the plumber, who's supposed to be with him during the day, and he wasn't at that campaign event. And so what the radio station played was only your husband saying, "Where's Joe the plumber? Where's Joe the plumber?" and that he wasn't there. What they failed to say was that Joe the plumber was there at a later campaign event. Is that the kind of uphill battle you've been facing this entire election cycle?
Well, there definitely has been a difference in how the media has treated us. But, to complain about any of that doesn't make any sense. We have done the very best we can. In spite of all this, we've managed to get our message out. We have a positive message. We have a message of hope, reform, and change for this country. And the people are seeing it. Voters are very independent, and they think for themselves. And they're seeing the differences, and most importantly, they're seeing the hope and the prosperity that my husband's plans for the economy offer.
Mrs. McCain, what about John McCain's character will make him a great president?
Well, for a man like my husband, who has had all of the experience in his lifetime, beginning at the age of 17 when he was sworn into the United States Navy, certainly his years as a POW shapes his character with regards to how he's handled his experience and his legacy in the United States Senate, how he has reformed. He's gone against his party so many times. He has gone against not only members of his own party, but against his president. This is a man who has the kind of character to truly lead this country. And when the statement was made about testing a president, my husband has already been tested. He's not the kind of person that will be tested in any way, shape, or form. He is truly a man that has the strength, the character, and the leadership ability to be president.
Mrs. McCain and Ms. McCain, let me ask each of you the same question. First, to you, Mrs. McCain. There are a lot of undecideds out there right now. They're looking at the two candidates. What is the one thing, Mrs. McCain, you're first, what is the one thing that is different about your husband than about Barack Obama?
Well, number one, his experience. We have a man who has spent his entire life putting his country first, understands what it means to send young men and women into combat, and more importantly, how to bring them home with honor and in victory. He also has a plan to keep our taxes low. He doesn't want to spread the wealth around. He wants to give wealth to everybody and enable all families to live the American dream. There's a big difference between the two candidates.
Meghan?
You know, I think for me, I have a brother that's about to redeploy to Afghanistan, and for me, it's just about who's going to keep this country safe in the next 4 years, and we can't afford to have someone who has no experience and has only spent a limited amount of time governing this country. I think for me, I just meet people every day that feel this way, and I think more so than anything, this Joe the Plumber thing really seems to have hit a nerve. Spread the wealth is confusing, and my father is going to create wealth, not spread it.
Ladies, one of the concerns that I've had throughout this election cycle is the sexism that we see that is still alive and well in our society. First with Hillary Clinton.
Very much so.
Now with, I know you can relate to it. Now with Governor Sarah Palin, we can all relate to this. So what kind of message, to both of you, start with you, Meghan, what kind of message do we need to send to the future women in our society? My young daughter, you as a young woman, Meghan, what is the message?
I think we just need to keep embracing strong women. Governor Palin represents so much of that to me. She's a woman, as so many times women are told, you can do everything, but not at the same time. You can have children, but not a career. And what I love so much about her is that she is a governor. She's possibly the next vice president of the United States. She has 5 children, 1 a special needs baby. She's truly doing it all. And I think instead of letting the media disempower her, we all as women need to embrace her and support that. I think it's very, very interesting that Now has endorsed her. I think that she represents feminism and at its finest level, and I'm proud for her to be my father's vice presidential running mate.
Mrs. McCain, I'm interested in your thoughts on that.
Well, you know, I think I was a bit astounded when I saw some of the harshest criticism towards Governor Palin coming from other women. Yeah. I agree with my daughter. This is a woman who is remarkable in every way, shape, or form. And we as women who not only know her, but women in general throughout the country need to embrace her because she is a role model for all young women who are striving to do not only the same things, but give back to their country and raise a good family and do all the things that we can do. And so I'm a little disgruntled at the other people around the country who have picked on her, because if she were in a suit and a tie, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. Hey, listen,
definitely.
Meghan, I'm looking at your website. I had no idea that the Ramones were your favorite group of all time, because right now you've got this thing with Linda Ramone. If people are interested, check it out, because you two traveled around.
She's incredible.
Yeah,
she is so cool, and we're going on this whole new thing that the only way to be punk rock anymore is to be conservative.
And
the only punk rock thing left.
And your book, Meghan, is in my children's collection. So you've written a very great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, you were here and you were kind enough to sign it for them. So thank you very much, ladies. Have a good rest of the 4 days. I know it'll be tiring, but we'll continue to check in with you.
McCainblogette.com.
Thank you so much.